Good morning, everybody. First of all, I want to thank Randy for those beautiful words. I am so humbled and just grateful to be at WAIM. And when I hear that, I started crying hearing what you had to say, because for me it is very much being in service. And the organization has such an amazing mission, so to hear that, I'm fumbling for words. And anybody that knows me knows that I do not fumble for words, so thank you so much. That was such a beautiful introduction. Right now, this is one of my favorite passages. It's John 13:12 through 17. And this passage is occurring at the Last Supper, where Jesus and his disciples are actually gathering for the Passover feast. And in the tradition back then, they would dine kind of leaning backwards. And back then, it was common to wear sandals, and your feet would get very dirty. So when you were dining, like you would see your feet, because they kind of ate reclining. And so it was a tradition for servants to wash the feet of the people who are at the dining table. And so in this particular instance, Jesus and his disciples were gathered, and they were busy debating, his disciples, over who was kind of greater. And no one thought to ask to wash each other's feet, and there were no servants. So this is where this passage picks up, where Jesus ended up starting to wash their feet before dining, and they were surprised, because here he is, his master and their teacher, the Son of God. So when he had finished washing their feet, he put his clothes and returned to his place. "Do you understand what I have done for you?" he asked them. "You call me teacher and Lord, and rightly so, for that is what I am. Now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also should wash one another's feet. I have set you an example that you should do as I have done for you. Very truly I tell you, no servant is greater than his master, nor is a messenger greater than the one who sent him. Now that you know these things, you'll be blessed if you do them." And what I really love about this passage, it's such a display of Jesus' humility and servitude. Jesus didn't come to earth to conquer or to rule. He came to serve as an example to humanity, how to serve others. By washing his disciples' feet, he was teaching them that they should do that to one another, that as human beings, we should wash each other's feet, figuratively, and help each other through love and humility. For me, my faith is expressed through service to others in action. And when I pray and I meditate in the morning, that's a very personal time for me to connect with God. And it's great coming to church and connecting and, reading scripture and singing hymns and connecting with God in your own way. But when you walk out the door of your house or you walk out the door of your church, faith and action, that display of carrying Jesus' message, for me, trying to live his word in my everyday life, that's faith. That's faith in action. And it really comes down to love and to that humility and looking at other human beings as human beings. That's one of the things that I really love about Jesus, and a lot of times, and it can be challenging. We have some challenging folks that come into WAIM. And it's to try to take a breath and see them as Jesus would see them in their wholeness, see them as human beings having very challenging moments. And so, for me, it is trying to remind myself, and I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. It's messy being a human being and moving through this world. It's a very challenging world. And especially now, there's so many things going on in the world that are frightening. There's a lot of hatred, and it's all loud. You know, everything that's coming at us, like it's Pride Month. And I have to say, I was on Willimantic today. It's a Facebook page. I try not to go on it. There's some good things on it, but someone just asked the question, is Willimantic having a Pride celebration? And the comments were so filled with hatred and bigotry. Like that's loud, and hatred has to be loud because love is so subtle and it's so quiet. And when you infuse your life with love and your actions with love, hate has got to be loud to drown it out. A lot of times, I know that in the past, I've thought this, that to be in service has to be this big grand thing. Like when I was younger, I was looking for like the big thing to do, to be, you know, to make a big impact. And I've come as I've gotten older and more connected to God, that's not the case at all. Being in service, it's so subtle because you can donate all the money you want or work a ton of hours in the soup kitchen or at WAIM, but if you are not in practice in your everyday life of looking at people and their humanity and seeing God within them and moving through the world in kindness, then that's not being in service. Sometimes, you honestly never know, and you probably see, quotes like this all the time, but it's true. You never really know what someone's going through. So sometimes just opening the door and smiling for someone can shift their day. A story that I love to tell was so impactful to me to this day. It's such an illustration of how you just never know what it is that's going to change someone's life. I used to work at Generations Family Health Center. I was their finance director for 10 years. And I would see this young lady who worked down in the clinic. She was a care coordinator. And we'd always see each other at lunch because we worked on 2 different floors. I was an admin. She was in the clinic. And I just enjoyed her so much. She was just so lovely. And I hadn't seen her in a while. And she had a lot of health issues. She had a lot going on. So I was a little worried. So I bumped into her in the kitchen at lunch. And I was so happy to see her because it had been a while. And she looked very pale, and she had bags under her eyes and seemed a little sad and low energy. And we were just chatting. I just wanted to get caught up and see how things were going with her. And I don't remember the conversation. I don't remember what I said. I don't remember what we talked about. So we heated our lunches. We went our separate ways. And a few days later, there's a knock on my office door, and she came in. And she said, "Can I close the door?" And that was not unusual because my office has always, no matter where I worked, has always been a safe space. People cry, people sometimes swear, but it's always been a safe space. So I didn't find it out of the ordinary. And when she closed the door, she said, "I have to tell you, your words were so meaningful to me when I saw you in the kitchen. I have been struggling so mightily, not only with my health, but with other things going on in my life, and I was planning on killing myself. And having the conversation with you in the kitchen just made me realize that I didn't want to do that and that I wanted to live." And I don't know what I said. I don't know what I said. I honestly couldn't tell you. And she started crying and I started crying. And I realized in that moment that I trusted, and this is part of my prayer in the morning, is that God, please put me where I'm needed. And I trusted that I was saying the right things and doing the right things. And so without realizing it, I was in service in a way that I didn't even realize. I know that there was a volunteer day, I believe, at WAIM a couple weeks ago. A group from the church came. And it may be, you think, oh, I'm just coming to sort clothes. It's like not that big of a deal. But I have to tell you, to the people that we serve, coming in and seeing these beautifully, sized clothing that's put on hangers, and they're just neat, and the place is neat, like that really means a lot. The people that we serve, it's the gamut of people that live below the poverty level. We have some people that are in, whether it's a domestic violence shelter or Holy Family or No Freeze, that come in. Sometimes when they're housed, yay, They come in and they can get furniture from us for free. Everything is for free. But a big chunk of who we serve, it's called the ALICE population. So they're asset limited, income constrained, and employed. And what that means is they live above the poverty level. They don't fall within that, but they can't afford the basic needs in the area that they live. And so United Way did a study, it was from 2022 with the statistics, that Windham is 4th in the state of the percentage of people living in this ALICE threshold. 4th. Third. Mansfield's 4th. Believe it or not. Willimantic's 3rd, and Mansfield and Willimantic are behind Hartford and New Haven. And that was stunning to me when I saw that. And that's the folks that we serve. And these people are just trying to make it. They're just trying to live their day-to-day lives. And what we give them through generous donations from people, furniture, clothing, household goods, small appliances, large appliances, toys, baby items, the list goes on, durable medical equipment. They're able to use these items and not have to buy them. So that frees up financial resources for them to buy food. 124 people coming to the food pantry, the mobile food pantry. That's incredible. And I know Covenant's maxed out. Salvation Army has a food pantry that's maxed out. Alternative Services does one, I think once a month. They always have a line of people. So the need is very great. And even in thinking I'm just gonna donate these clothes, I don't really need them anymore. That's being in service. That's taking these items and giving them to people, to us, to WAIM, directly to the people who really need them. So it's the little things. It's even as much as a smile. When I was the finance director for No Freeze before I came to WAIM, and I'm currently on their board, and have been on their board prior. There's some guests that people will cast their eyes down as they walk by them on the sidewalk. Can you imagine what it's like to not even feel seen or acknowledged? And that struck me so much. So when I see someone on the sidewalk, I always smile. I always smile and look them in the eye, because every human being is valuable. We're all children of God. We're all extensions of God. One of my favorite lines, so I'm dating myself because this song came out in 1998, but it's the artist Jewel, and it's the song Hands. And the very end of the song, the lyrics are, "We are God's eyes, we are God's hands, and we are God's heart." And I very much believe that by being in service with humility, even in the very small ways, smiling at someone, helping a mom in a stroller who's struggling. There was a woman at BJ's the other day, and they're putting in the gas station, so there was this rock where they dug up, and it was all loose. It was loose gravel. And she's got this cart loaded. She must be having a picnic because it was water and all kinds of stuff. And she was struggling. She would push and she would pull. She couldn't even get the cart through. I ran over and I grabbed, and the two of us were able to do it. So, it's things like that, is lifting the load of somebody. It may seem so inconsequential, but it really spreads that love and that kindness and that servitude to one another. We need to lift each other up. We are extensions of God, and God's miracles flow through us. I can't tell you how many angels in physical form have helped me in my life. And so this is why this is so meaningful to me. And at WAIM, again, we serve people who they're just trying to make it. They're just trying to get by. And beyond that, our staff and our volunteers, the place is so, Victoria told me when she retired, she said, WAIM is a very special place. Miracles happen at WAIM. And I have no doubt whatsoever that is true. The amount of love and respect that the volunteers and the staff have for each other, for the people that we serve, for our community, it's just so amazing. We've had people that have volunteered through community service as a part of their sentence for something they've done, whatever it is, have worked here and have chosen to come back. as a volunteer because it shifted their lives so much. We have, young people that work with us through the school system that come back and volunteer because it's impacted their lives so much. So WAIM it's so much greater than what we do. It truly is a mission where we are really, living the word and helping our neighbors and lifting each other up. So I really appreciate being able to come here and speak to you all, and thank you again.